Hi guys, it is Terry, your friendly neighborhood headbanger, and I am doing well, and I hope that you are too. And this is going to be, as they say in the YouTube world, a ramble. And it's going to be a ramble because I didn't really prepare anything ahead of time. I know I said I was going to take some notes about this video, and I wound up having a fibromyalgia flare, and that's a subject for another video, which I plan to do. But anyway, didn't take notes. But this is going to be part of the Southern Traditions series that I've done. I think the last one I did was what to do when you have a Southern visit or a Southern meetup. And if you want to go back and watch that one, I enjoyed making that. You'll tell me what you think. This one is going to be about porch gatherings, which is a Southern thing. And I'm sure it's not just a Southern thing. I mean, I'm not sitting here thinking that no other... Here comes my cat. Hi, Sophie. You'll say hi? Nope. So I'm not going to say hi, but I will walk in front of you in the camera angle. Okay. Anyway, that was Sophie. She's our long-haired silver mackerel tabby, I think is what they call her, which is just a big, long thing of words to say that she's gray and white and tabby and fluffy. Okay. Anyway, yeah. The Southern houses are not the only one with porches, but we do tend to be able to make more use of them year-round simply because we have warmer weather year-round. Right now, where I live in East Tennessee, for the entire next week, it's going to be 90. And they're going to be thunderstorms. They won't cool anything down. They're just going to make everything hot and muggy. So thanks for that. But we do tend to have more weather, a longer space of weather in which we can use our porch. Now, when you say porch in the South, a lot of people think of walking out of your front door onto a covered long area, and usually a couple of rocking chairs on it, or a swing that goes back and forth, a long swing that looks like a love seat. And that's cool, and that is, what a lot of people have on their porch. The house that I live in now, well, the house that I lived in before now had one of those porches. You walked out into a covered area, and it had rocking chairs, and it had a light and a ceiling fan in the ceiling, and that was really cool. But now I live in my childhood home, as I think I've mentioned before, and we do have a front porch. It's not completely covered, but it is an area of brick that goes all the way down the house, and it would have plenty of room for a rocking chair. It does have a bench, like a stone bench that sits there, whatever. Anyway. So that's not the kind of porch I'm talking about, though. No, our porch was pretty cool in the way that it came about. When my mom and dad designed the house, they designed your basic 3-bedroom brick ranch style house. And they had a 2-car drive-under garage, but they thought the design included a carport on the end of the house. And they're like, we don't need a carport if we've got a full garage, a full basement with a, 2-car drive-under. So they decided to make the carport into a porch. Now, since the porch was big enough to, house a car and then some, it was a nice big porch. It runs all the way the width of our house. And it has the same roof as the house does. And it is screened in. So what they did is they built a brick wall up, probably about 2 feet or so, all the way around. And then on top of that, they put posts, and they put posts, supporting the roof. And between the posts, they have screening, just like you would a screen door. So we literally have a screened-in porch, a screened-in carport, if you will. And it's really cool. One of the doors faces out to the road in front of the house. The other door opens into our fenced-in backyard. So you could either go out to the front yard, or you could go out into the backyard. And there is a door from the kitchen that goes out to the porch from the house. And it basically comes out right in the middle of the porch. And so when I was a kid, that was a wonderful place to have. When it was too hot to run around outside, but you wanted to be outside, you could play on the porch. It was a great place to go relax. My Uncle Ray, who lived with us, fell asleep more than once in the lounge chair on the porch, and I have to go wake him up to come in and have dinner. My mom, at first, just had the concrete floor and, a few pieces of patio furniture. But then when I got older, and I'm not sure exactly how old I was when she did this, she decided she really wanted to make it almost a sunroom. So she put down a green indoor-outdoor kind of felt like carpet, and she got patio furniture that matched. She got like the gliding love seat, and then just the normal love seat, and lounge chairs, and then just regular like Adirondack type chairs. And she put a picnic table there up against the wall, and so that she could lay food out there if we wanted to, like, snack out there or whatever. That became the gathering place in the summer for the 4th of July and for Labor Day gatherings. But specifically the 4th of July is the one I remember the most. My aunt and uncle, my mom's brother, who was the twin of the uncle that lived with us, my mom's brother and his wife had 3 sons, my cousins. And they would come over every 4th of July and every Christmas. And Christmas is a completely different story because that was always interesting. But they'd come over every 4th of July. Now, all the boys, all my boy cousins were athletic, very athletic, and they could all eat like you would not believe. And so could my mom and her brothers. All of the people on my mom's side of the family were good, hearty eaters. And if you wanted something to eat when they were around, you needed to act quickly, especially when the boys are around. So my mom would start cooking days in advance for this. And my Aunt Tip, my mom's brother's wife, would also cook. And our other cousins that would sometimes come would cook. So there was a lot of cooking going on. There was a lot of food going on. And we would go, the food would be in the kitchen where it could keep nice and cool. And then we would load up our plates and go out on the porch to eat. And some food was out on the porch if it didn't have to be kept cold or anything, but 90% of it was in the kitchen. And what we generally had was pulled pork barbecue. Later on, she actually got the pulled pork from a restaurant, but when we were younger, she would buy a pork roast and cook it in the crock pot and then pull it apart and then, put the barbecue sauce in with it. So we'd have that. We'd have coleslaw. My mom made the best coleslaw on the planet. It was right up there with KFC. In fact, my cousin Robert always got excited when this time of year came around because Mom was going to have coleslaw, and he was all about her coleslaw. And let's see. So we'd have that. We would have baked beans. There would be Jell-O salads and desserts, pies, cakes. It was a lot of food. And we would eat, and then after we ate, the older people, which I would now be one of, the older people would sit on the porch and talk. And that would be my mom and her brothers and my Aunt Tip and my mom's first cousin, Margaret. They would all sit around and talk about back in the day, which is what I'm doing right now. And you laugh. You younger ones, you laugh. You'll be doing it too. I promise you. And you'll think back on this video and go, oh man, she said I would. You will. Anyway, so while they were doing that, the younger of us, me, my cousins, whoever we might be dating at the time, because they were always invited, we would go out and play croquet. 4th of July croquet was a tradition. And we would play croquet usually, I think, until about 3rd place won, and then we would quit. There'd be a bunch of us playing, but there's no point playing until the end. Everybody gets to the stake at the end, because that could take years. So we would play, and my cousin John would, I don't know if he just made the rules up out of his head, or if he thought, if I get in this situation, I'll say this is a rule. But the rules changed pretty much continuously, and they always changed to benefit John. If he was, needed another stroke to get where he needed to go, he would find a rule where he got another stroke. And we all knew what was happening. Some of his brothers would call him out on it, or we would call him out. But he just completely made up the rules. Not that it mattered. It wasn't like there was a prize for finishing first. It was just basically, just fun. And of course, we had red, white, and blue decorations and that sort of thing. And it usually started in the early afternoon and lasted until late late afternoon. So maybe started around 2 or 3, and lasted till 6 or so. And then people went to go see the fireworks in, wherever they went to go. A lot of them back in that time went to the city next door to ours because they had really big fireworks, and it was coordinated with music and all that kind of thing. So it didn't last that long. Labor Day was a different animal. Labor Day, we usually had hamburgers, and it was still warm enough more than warm enough on Labor Day to eat out on the porch. In fact, sometimes it was too warm, and people would come in here and eat around the kitchen table, because September happens to be a ridiculously hot month where I live. July, August, and September are ridiculous. And I know for a lot of people in the world that fall starts in September. That does not happen in where I live in Tennessee. No. Fall starts in October if you're lucky. So a lot of people it would be too hot to sit outside, and they would sit around the kitchen table. So when we moved back into this house, the porch did not have a lot going for it. A lot of the patio furniture had been given away when my mom passed away. I did not intend to live in this house, so I didn't need that furniture. So we let it go. Of course, obviously, I regret that now, but the porch was being used for storage for a lot of stuff, because my mom had stuff in this house, and I, of course, had been living in my house that I moved from for 20 years, and so we just had a lot of stuff of our own. Well, I had been wanting to clean off the porch and get that idea of that porch gathering back again. I wanted to have that family time, and be able to celebrate those things again. So my husband realized, and nothing happened to the porch for about 3 years while we lived here, and that's not his fault. He worked a lot, and we just had a lot going on. But he realized a couple of months ago, that is something that I would really, really like to have. So he got online, and he found things, and he asked me to come look at them. And he wound up getting new carpet, which was an indoor-outdoor patio carpet. So it's much thicker than the felt-like stuff that my mom had. And it came in squares that had adhesive on them. And so he cleaned the entire porch floor, then cleaned it with alcohol, and then put down the squares. And they pieced them together beautifully. They're like a beautiful deep green, like the color of a deep green healthy grass. And at the edge of them, he put brass stripping, like you would see in carpet in a house. And he hosed down the screens, because screens attract a lot of stuff if you don't, hose them down. Then I took the patio furniture that we did have out, that we had from our house, and hosed it down, because it had been out there forever. And we put that up and arranged it, and he bought some chairs and some small little tables, and we put that up. Now, we don't have the picnic table. The picnic table went away, but we do have one of those long tables like people have at receptions and church gatherings that are about, I don't know, maybe they're like 4 feet long, maybe. We do have one of those, and we're going to put that up at the same place where the picnic table was, and that will be a place where we can put food out or drinks or whatever. And I'm pretty excited, because it is really beginning to take shape, and we've been able to go out there when it gets cooler, which is not till around 8 o'clock around here. And the sun's got to be heading on the way down for it to be bearable. And we'll go out there and we'll sit in our chair. We have three patio chairs that rock and swivel, and they are fabulous. And we sit in those, and we listen to the birds sing. Now, we do live near a highway, so it's not as quiet as it was at the old place that we lived, because that was out in the middle of back of nowhere. But it is, you can hear the birds singing, and you do see fireflies when the sun starts to go down, so that's cool. Or lightning bugs, as we'd say here in the South. And it's just really neat, and it takes my heart back and my mind back to those days when I was a kid and we celebrated things on the porch. And in my head, as I look around the porch now, in my head, I can see everybody sitting where they normally would. I could see my mom sitting by the kitchen door, and the door that went into the kitchen in case she needed to run in and get something for somebody. I could see my uncle sitting in the lounge chair because he loved the lounge chair. I can see my sister and I and our cousins sitting around in rocking chairs or the love seats and the gliding love seat. I can look out into the backyard and I can see us playing croquet. It's so neat. It's bittersweet to some degree, but it's really, really neat too that we have been able to sit out there. Now, one of the things we haven't done yet that I'm super excited about is when my mom and dad built the porch, they built in a built-in grill. It was made out of brick, and it had a grate that went over it. There was brick, and there was a hole, or not a hole, but a cutout section of the brick where you put the coals in, and the grill that went over it. And it's not been used for that for 100 million years. But what I would like to do with it, and Bill and I have talked about doing with it, is basically making it a fire pit and putting a flue up from it that would direct the smoke away, and just having a fire pit that you could roast marshmallows on, or just sit out on the porch during the autumn and early winter and just sit by the fire and just enjoy the sound of it. So we're looking into doing that, and I think that would be super cool. But yeah, porch gatherings. I know that when my mom talked about her childhood, she lived on a street in our town called Center Street because it went down the center of town. And when she was young, my town did not have anywhere near the number of people that it does now, and it wasn't spread out as much, and almost everybody had to go up and down Center Street to get to where they wanted to go, like small businesses and that kind of thing. So her house was on Center Street, faced Center Street, and she and her brothers would sit out there and they would talk and they would play games and they would, and they would say hi to people that went up and down the sidewalk, because a lot of people walked as opposed to driving that lived in that area. So they would say hi to people. And I remember that mom said that someone said if one of my mom's family members wasn't out on the porch, something was wrong, because they were out there all the time. My uncles would bring their buddies to come over and hang out, and Mom was like, but none of them ever asked her out because she was everybody's sister. In fact, my uncles called her sister until she was up older. So she said, yeah, with everyone calling her sister, it didn't exactly, motivate them to ask her out, which was too bad because her her brothers were, athletic. Her older brother was on the football team, and he had football players over. And nope, she was just sister. So they'll hang out on the porch, and bless her heart, she would not get asked out. But that's okay. She found my dad, and all is well. But yeah, listening to her time on the porch, and then thinking about our time on the porch, and then, just seeing pictures of other people's families, sitting on their porch or sitting on their patio or whatever. I thought that is such a wonderful tradition that, like I said, isn't probably unique to the South, but it's something I think of about the South. And I think sometimes people think that way about the South too, but I think they think that we're all sitting on our plantation porch having a mint julep, and that's just not the case at all. And I blame Gone with the Wind for that. But most porches are relatively small, and the gatherings can be small or they can be large. In my case, they're loud. When I was a kid, they were loud. And when I first started dating my husband came to one of these gatherings. I don't know if it was 4th of July or Memorial Day. I don't remember. But yeah, that was quite the introduction to my family. My mom's side of the family is crazy loud. My dad's side of the family, there were not that many of them left, even when I was a kid. His sister had died. His other sister lived in another state. And my grandfather died when I was 10, and my grandmother just wasn't able to come over, didn't feel like coming over. So there wasn't a whole lot going on with my dad's family. Most of my family memories, all of my family memories of big family, are with my mom. And, oh my goodness, they're a loud bunch. And they can all have 14 conversations at once, and doggone it, they would. You would be on the porch, and this is how you know if you were related to my mom or you grew up with my mom's family. If you could leave one conversation and jump in the other without batting an eye and be able to go into that conversation and know exactly what they were talking about, you were related to my mom. Or I think really you're just a good Southerner. If you can go from one conversation to the next, it's just, that's what we do. We have like 14 conversations going on at once in a large family gathering. My husband's family is very quiet. His mother was a librarian, and his dad doesn't say a whole lot. And so he is kind of quiet himself until he really gets to know people. And he kind of likes to get to know people on a smaller basis, And so, yeah. So that's why I need to bring him to a family gathering that has 15 people at it, and they're all talking about different things as loud as they can. I felt so sorry for him. I was like, dude, you just don't know this. You just don't understand how this works, do you? And in his defense, his uncle on his dad, he only has one uncle on his dad's side, and they had no children. And his mother has a ton of siblings, and they have kids, but they all live up north in New England. So he did not get to experience the big family gathering that much. And I miss it. I really do. I'd give anything to have 15 people here all talking as loudly as they could about 4 different subjects. That would be fantastic. And in my happy world, when I get to heaven, that's what will be happening. We'll all be gathered out on this really fantastic porch with the best food in the world that you won't gain any weight from. And we'll all be having conversations that no one else but our people could keep up with. Well, that's not true. It's heaven. Everybody could keep up. But, it'd be fun. So, porch gatherings, I think, are just a really great way to put family together and let them make memories that they can look back on. So if your family's still doing that, because I don't have a lot of family left. My parents are deceased. Bill's parents live in another state. I have one sister. She didn't, I don't have any nieces or nephews, and I have one child. So if you're making memories right now with a large group, a bunch of your family, and you're doing things like having picnics on porches and playing croquet afterwards, or if you're going somewhere together, like a lake cabin or whatever, man, enjoy that. Take pictures. I wish I'd taken more pictures. I know it's much easier today with cell phones. You don't have to use camera, like a digital camera, or heaven forbid a film camera like I had. But take tons of pictures and just preserve those memories and impress upon your kids how important that is to do, because there's never going to be a time when a porch gathering isn't an awesome thing. Whether you're looking back at as a memory of it, or whether you're planning one for Labor Day or 4th of July Day or whatever. And I know in this day and time, it's a little hard to get a bunch of family members together, but even on my porch, you could socially distance because it ran the entire width of the house. But yeah, that's just porch gatherings. Something that big Southern families do that they should keep doing. Just keep on doing it as long as you can. Well, this was kind of all over the place and probably not as organized as it could have been, and probably not the best video I've ever done. But that's okay. My next video is probably going to be a show and tell. I'm going to give you guys some choices. Please comment down below about what you would like. We've got paparazzi jewelry. We've got bath and body products. And we've got perfumes. Now, I know all the guys that are listening to this are just running to go and pick one of these. And I know, and I don't know, you might be interested in it. Maybe you'll see something you can get your girlfriend or your wife or something. Or maybe something you like. Hey, no judgment here. But yeah, let me know in comments. If you are enjoying these videos and you get anything out of them, or you think they're fun or entertaining or informative in any way, please subscribe. I would be thrilled for that. When I get up to 50 subscribers, I might think about investing in a microphone. Right now, I'm lo-fi on my phone, but and I'm down with that. That's okay. I don't care. But anyway, yes, if you enjoy this, like it and subscribe, and leave me a comment down below, and maybe tell me something about a porch gathering your family has. You guys get together outside. All right. I love you guys. Take care. Wear a mask. Talk to you later.